Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to the daily update of my 1000 day challenge. This is day 529, so let's get things started. Alright, so first and foremost, you'll see a small little drop further again for experimental trade setup. That's purely based on the Bitcoin, actually based on the price action trade I mentioned yesterday before I closed the video. So if you remember earlier yesterday, so let's go back to Bitcoin. So I did mention that if we actually did break below, then I'll actually put a sell stop order over here. So what happened is that if you look into a candlestick, we actually did break below, but we quickly closed right above it. So because of that, I actually closed the trade directly right after it. So I did take a small loss of it, not too significant, but otherwise definitely take a small loss on that. So I do expect that we do break. It has to be a strong enough pressure and momentum in order for me to ride it. Otherwise, I'll not be keen to enter a short setup in this particular perspective. So this trade has been cleared, closed with a bit of a small stop loss. And otherwise, that's more or less about the explaining the differences wise. All right. Otherwise, if you look in terms of the traditional financial market wise, S&P 500 and Nasdaq definitely looks like a very nice pullback. But of course, we see very nice support coming in for both the S&P 500 and also the Nasdaq wise. Although bear in mind that Nasdaq definitely did draw a more significant drop, but actually bounced back very nicely as well and managed to close within this first primary support region itself. But it's actually below this key support horizontal as well. So that's something to bear in mind. We are still forming technically lower lows over here, but in terms of high wise, we technically still forming higher highs. Of course, here is a lower high and then here's a lower low. So technically, we are some sort of like an expanding wedge kind of pattern. So let's see how things goes. Hopefully, the strong bullish momentum will carry towards the upside or at least consolidate within this zone itself. To me, it will be a very healthy sign as long as we can consolidate between the 14.3K region to the 16.4K region itself. This will be a nice consolidation zone, perhaps to form a base before we travel towards the upside. And for ASH itself, definitely looks a little bit more bearish, but we are still maintaining nicely over here. So let's see how price react to it. If we do have a very nice bounce, at least towards the upside, I still lean towards that we could further consolidate before we go towards the upside again. On the other hand, KWEB is looking a little bit bearish at the same time because we're actually spending a little bit more time than what I would like over here. So hopefully we can actually break over here within the next couple of days, preferably by this week itself, especially with a very strong break towards the upside. If we can stay above it, that will be a very good sign of shift of momentum. But if that does not take place itself, definitely we do see further bearish momentum and downside, in which case we could really retest this lower low or even lower than that. So that's something to bear in mind. All right, and finally for Bitcoin itself. So over here, we do definitely find potential support over here. Nicely found, definitely a strong key support over here. Previously, we also found support here over here before we bounce up. And previously, resistance here, and also somewhat of an interaction over here. But more importantly, if you recall, we also found resistance right over there itself. So that's something to bear in mind. So hopefully this support do find a very nice bounce and then we could have a very nice bounce towards the upside. But bear in mind that now we have this key resistance over here, which is at the 46K region itself. Above it, we also have the 51K region itself. And the 51 to 52K region itself as a key resistance as well. So yeah, definitely something to take note of. But short-term wise, the bearish momentum still remain biased. And you can see that we are still having difficulty closing above the 20 exponential moving average, similarly like what we have over here. So definitely not a good sign, but let's see how things goes. Overall, I'm still leaning towards the bullish side, but I'm not looking to enter a short just yet because it seems to be a little bit more choppy. But of course, on the fourth try itself, it could potentially lead to a much stronger breakout. But yeah, I'm not going to enter a short for this in the current moment itself. You can see that even though we are sloping towards the downside, the bearish momentum is decreasing itself. So I prefer if we have some sort of a weak, even some sort of weak pullback first before we drop back lower, before I continue on looking for a short, simply because the risk to reward will be a lot more attractive. Otherwise, that's more or less about it. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care and see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.